What are you in the 1% of? I'm naturally ambidextrous. Apparently that's something only 1% of people naturally are. I can use both right and left hands ably for any task. For example, I often switch which hand I write with based on how I'm sitting. It's worth noting natural ambidexterity is not the same as learned or acquired ambidexterity. For example, left-handed people often have to use things designed for right-handed people but otherwise are left-handed. I'm of the 0.002% of people with osteopoikilosis. This freaked the crap out of me because when I was diagnosed the first thing the doctor said was, wow, I've never seen this in anything but textbooks before. Basically, I have bones growing inside my bones. It's not anything I should be worried about, at least for a while, so that's nice. Not me but my dad. He was born with a backwards heart and didn't find out till his heart attack a few years ago, and it actually saved his life. His doctor later told him that after being a doctor for over 30 years he'd never seen someone with a backwards heart and that apparently 1% of people on the planet have it. I am diagnosed with visual snow syndrome. Basically seeing through static. It may not be rare as thought, but I am one of very few people to be formally diagnosed. I have experienced visual snow as long as I can remember. I stopped bringing it up as a child when my doctor didn't take me seriously. I've started bringing it up again after reading an article about it last year. Far less than 1% of people make their living creating crossword puzzles. I've also written 5 novels, 3 of which were published. Whoa, thank you for the crossword puzzles. I am addicted and have always wondered how the intellectual and creative process of building a crossword puzzle works. Wish you the very best. Not as interesting or cool as others, but I am in the 1% of the population that has no immunity to rubella even though I've been vaccinated for it several times. Apparently some people's bodies don't take to some vaccinations. Fine with everything else like mumps, measles, etc. It's just the rubella. I've also got type 2 Duane syndrome in my right eye. Duane's being an uncommon eye condition anyway, right eye being least common to have it in and type 2 the least common of its type out of the 3 types. Won the Duane's lottery with that one. I fell off a 100-foot cliff and landed headfirst on rocks. Broke my neck and back. Smashed up a lot of my body. Had to travel about a mile to find help immediately after the fall. Doctor said I caused more damage by trying to walk for help, but would have bled out if I stayed where I fell. 15 months later, I am powerlifting and ran a half marathon. Should not be alive, much less be able to walk. Everyone is born with a space in the base of your skull. I have an enlarged space. The doctor called it an enlarged cisterna magna. Having it isn't what makes me part of the 1%. It's the fact that it hasn't caused me any trouble or neurological issues that puts me there. It was only found when I had an MRI for migraines. Adjacently related, I have 13 full sets of thoracic ribs. I didn't know until I had to have MRIs on my back to see how bad my arthritis was. Doesn't cause me any real issue either. Makes me wonder how many others out there have these quirks and don't know it. I'm a totally in the 0.2% of something. People who have a rather nasty reaction to the blood thinner, heparin. Lost half my toes because of how lucky I am. Heparin sucks, even the other 99.8% hurt like a mofo. I'm one of only 200 deaf pilots in the world and one of only 4 that are commonly known of in the world with commercial and instrument training. I'm also one of the only deaf people who hold both a pilot's license and a commercial driver's license. Guitar Hero. I was a world ranked player back when it was more popular and won every tournament I ever attended. Hyperhidrosis. Excessively sweaty armpits for no reason. I could be sitting there completely at ease and sweat rolls down my sides from my pits. I have found a product to fix the issue, however I know no one else who has the same issue personally. I had this problem too. It's a lot more common than you think. It's just that people are kind of ashamed of it. I ruined so many pieces of clothing over the years that the first time I was able to wear twice the same top I cried. Sweating for no reason is a self-esteem crusher. Allergies. Go to catch 'em all. Some backstory. Allergy hives with stress hives with having a cold for 3 constant years with all the symptoms varying in severity with constant sinus infection till they sometimes bleed for no frickin' reason. I also have severe depression. anxiety and PTSD, but I somehow cope with it and treat it. That worsens my health and immune system in general, so yay. I'm allergic to mold, dust, penicillin, sulfur drugs, ants, spiders, pesticides, hay, dust, some spices, the cold, urticaria, and raw tomatoes. And unfortunately it's quite severe. Stress just amplifies them all. I had a bad allergic reaction in May and nearly lost my life. The healthcare system was overflowing with COVID patients, so they took a while to process my case and nearly lost my pulse even after the adrenaline shot. Then a day later it happened again, and on the third day again. My lungs couldn't take it and I had lung failure, so I couldn't breathe without an oxygen mask for 3 weeks and very slowly recovered. I can't afford good healthcare, so I'm just crossing my fingers for it not to happen again, but I've been feeling extra tired and having a worse allergy. It's really scary. I'm still fairly young, 22, but my crappy family that stood in the way of me making money and working for the longest time. Many members of my family are very abusive and are the main reason I have many mental health issues. Wouldn't even help me get to a better country to get tested and treated for the constant breathing and allergy problems, even though they can afford it. I live in a third world country and I make $50 a month while studying and learning video game design on my own. So yeah, I hope I make enough money someday to take care of myself and treat my medical issues on my own. Same. I'm allergic to everything inconvenient but nothing life-threatening. Allergic to the cold, pressure, urticaria, scratches, anything that has a smell that's not natural. I'm constantly itchy and uncomfortable. I held a second place world record for the Mushroom Gorge time trial in Miracat for 15 minutes. I've been in 2 helicopter crashes and 1 plane crash. There is only a small group of people who have survived that many crashes. I'm also not a pilot. Mirror writing. Writing the same exact thing with my left hand, except backwards and to the left, while I write it normally and with my right hand. Oh holy crap, other people who can do this. Whenever I describe this skill I get weird looks. Great for window writing. Survival. I fell 25 feet out of a window when I was about 2 years old. I've also been hit by a car that was traveling over 50 mph 80.4 kmh. I've had 2 near drownings. I was also held hostage at gunpoint for over 3 hours. All if these things happened before my 14th birthday. I'd like a word with your parents. I had pancreatic cancer last year. Out of 10,000 patients they normally find 100 who have another form of this cancer who kill a little slower, like in 2 years instead of months. I was one of the 100. Out of those, normally 15 can have surgery. I was one of them. Out of those 15, some die and some come back to basically normal life. That's about a 0.07% chance in all. I am still one of them. I should be dead by now. Shouldn't have read that, don't get me wrong, but I'm really happy for you that you're still alive. But my dad just got diagnosed with it and the operation is in 2 weeks and I'm scared to lose him. Performing musicians who can play the complete well-tempered clavier. Books 1 and 2. The well-tempered clavier is 2 sets of preludes and fugues in all 24 major and minor keys for keyboard by J.S. Bach. BWV 846-893. Jesus. As an accomplished pianist I just cannot, but also I will not. I'm sure I'm in the 1% of wedding attendance. I started as a wedding DJ when I was 18. For several years, I was doing 40-50 weddings a year. I ended up doing DJ, photo, and video at my business in Vegas. For several years, I was a part of at least 250 weddings a year. Sometimes 2-3 a day. My record was 7 ceremonies in one day. The 11th of November 2011. I retired from weddings at 44 years old, so 26 years in total. I estimate I have been worked at well over 2,000 wedding ceremonies, probably closer to 2,500 to 2,600. Interestingly, I've only been a participant in 2 weddings, mine as the groom and my best friend as best man. You should do a AMA. According to my step counter, walking, not even kidding, I manage a warehouse and walk 10-15 miles a day at work. Apparently this is more than 99.3% of users. Turns out the one thing I'm exceptional at is the one thing almost everyone can do. Yay. Only 2% of pregnant women experience 2 miscarriages in a row. Only 1% of women experience 3 miscarriages in a row. I have had 5 miscarriages in a row and I fully hate any type of statistics now. Statistics used to make me feel safe. Now I just know how easy it is to be on the wrong side of them. How sad. I have had 3 miscarriages in a row, and I totally get not being relieved by any statistic when you're always on the wrong end. My actual name. My last name is one of the rarest in the country and I am the only person with my name out of the entire population. Second generation deaf and black dude. Probably less than 0.5%. Supporting both black and deaf mommy and daddy is pretty hard. Walking. I have cerebral palsy and it was not known whether I would talk, walk, or do anything. Now, I'm getting a degree, have a job, and I am a full-fledged adult. Birth control. 99% effective, right? I'm living proof of the 1% XD. It's cool though, my parents never acted like they didn't want me. Good for them. I'm the mother of a 1% baby who is now a grown woman. You are a surprise, honey, not a mistake. Big difference. I suffer from a relatively harmless phenomenon called aphantasia. I am incapable of conjuring images inside my head. I know what object or thing I'm supposed to think about but all I see is nothing. When I dream, I know what's happening and what I'm supposed to see but it's just a whole lot of nothingness. I guess you could say I'm blind in my mind. Apparently around 1% of the population suffer from this weird condition. Must be nice having a screen in your head that shows anything you can imagine : I have the same and I absolutely hate it. When I found out that people can see things inside their heads or when they close their eyes, I couldn't even believe it. Sometimes I try very hard to just conjure up a star or my husband's face. I really hate having this and wish there was a way to change it. Tenor voices. I'm a professional opera singer and have also performed in a rock band, a state champion collegiate a cappella group, have been on international television as a soloist, was paid to sing High Mass at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican in front of the cardinals, and was just on stage with some Ixolet. That's pretty badass. Mine's pretty god-awful. I have 2 uteruses. I can throw a 16-pound shot put over 20 meters or 66 feet 8 inches. Not a ton of real-world applications except when asked what you are in the top 1% of. You could win at bowling in a way that shuts people up. Degrees. I have a BA, MA, JD and 2 PhDs. If I'm not mistaken, less than 1% of the world has that many and neither should I. Infertile people. The people who can't have children after a year of trying, for whom no treatment works, have no diagnosis to explain why, and end up the 1% of the 1% and move on to surrogacy gestational carrier. Same for my wife. By the time we were done with everything we decided not to pursue anything else and just be with each other. Sucks sometimes, but that's what the cards had for us. We have each other and that's always been enough. Anything else would have been a bonus. Good luck to you. I can say the alphabet backwards just as quickly as I can say it forwards. I have a rare type of brain tumor. It's benign. We pretend it doesn't exist. All good. And I don't use my phone on the toilet. Rubik's Cube solving. I'm not particularly fast compared to the fastest folks, but I'm sub 30 seconds every time. Old fingers and neurons don't fire as fast as them little kids. Improbably in the 1% of surviving multiple severe opioid overdoses without brain damage. I survived 6 different opioid, primarily fentanyl analogs, overdoses, 2 of which I completely stopped breathing for several minutes, and out of those 2 overdoses, my heart stopped beating during one, and it stopped for a little over a minute. Further, my now wife and I got clean at the same time once we finally hit our lowest point and were about to become homeless. And I got clean by sitting at my parents' house and not going to detox rehab or getting on buprenorphine or methadone. I should be really super duper dead, but instead we got clean. We got married, and I work for myself as a carpenter woodworker as my wife finishes college. So I suppose I'm in the 1% of hardcore opioid addicts getting and staying clean after nearly dying multiple times from overdoses. Yay me. I don't know if it's 1%, But I'm in the low percentage of teen moms that don't end up having another baby in just a few years. I had my second 15/16 years after I had my first at 15 years old. Also, my daughter who will be 21 this year isn't a mom. That last sentence is especially a win. I have cystic fibrosis. I am a super recognizer. Super recognizer is a term coined in 2009 by Harvard researchers for people with significantly better than average face recognition ability. I am not in 1% to be precise actually. It is around 2% but wanted to share anyways. There is a free online test for you to check if you are one as well. I'm probably in the bottom 1% of that tbh. I used to be in the 1% for typing speed, but I don't think I am anymore. I'm pretty out of practice and I use my phone more than my computer these days. My height. I am 6 feet 7 inches and 19. I was the same height when I was 16, which was in the 4th standard deviation from the average. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.